Hello, everyone. Welcome to this video. I'm Craig Fulton. I'm an advisor at Evergreen, and what I do here is I help MSPs recognize the value in their business when they're doing M&A. And I'm joined by...
Hey everyone, I'm Ramsey. I co-founded Evergreen about 6 years ago now. So really excited to share the story with you all today.
Yeah, we met, it was a long time ago, early on when you started looking into this industry, and I thought, okay, let's see where he goes. And then about a year ago, we started talking, and I'm excited to be here. But you have an inspirational story. Right. When I'm out there in the market and I'm talking to MSP owners, they're like, Evergreen, some have heard of it. Some have heard some things, some have heard some incorrect things. So let's clear the air on that. I think this is a very inspirational journey you've been on with Jeff Totten and Brad, and I think it's good for everyone to hear. Get to know who you are and what Evergreen does and why. Why Evergreen? So Ramsey, take it away.
Yeah, so the Evergreen story really started in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places, in May 2017. So myself and Jeff Totten, who's our CEO and co-founded the company with me, we're big fans. We had developed an affinity for Berkshire Hathaway, which is Warren Buffett's holding company. And what we really liked about what they do is they buy businesses, and instead of flipping them or kind of stripping them down and then selling them in 3 to 5 years, they hold them indefinitely. So when you go to their annual meeting in Omaha, you see all these businesses that they own, household names that you would recognize: Geico, See's Candies.
Yeah.
And those are businesses that they've owned for decades, and they're really kind of seen as this great home for great businesses. And we
Yeah.
didn't see that model being applied to small and medium-sized businesses across America and across the globe. And so we felt like there was an opportunity to come in with a longer term mindset, and really try to build the best home for smaller businesses that Berkshire wouldn't be interested in buying. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the Evergreen story. And so we
Okay.
kind of got initial funding to get that off the ground in 2017, and
Well,
kind of went
now
from
hold
there.
on. You're leaving out some fun parts, right? So I'm gonna make sure we don't miss any of those. And I know you love the See's candies. One of the first times I met you, you handed it to me. I'm like, okay, this guy loves the candy. Now you leave the meeting. It's not like, hey, we left the meeting and they just gave us approval and backed us financially to go do this. You went back to San Francisco and you went off. Just talk about that, because I think this is
Yeah,
cool, right? A lot of IT businesses, it's always the started it in the garage, started it in the basement, started like I think you have a very similar story here.
yeah. Well, Evergreen, so it started on the journey back from Omaha to San Francisco. We connected in Denver, and Jeff typed up an email to Graham Weaver, who's the founder of Alpine, which is the
Yeah.
private equity firm that backs Evergreen today. And he wrote up this whole email about how he was really inspired by uh, the time in Omaha, and how he wanted to build this permanent holding company and build this long-term home for businesses. So we get back to San Francisco and we go kind of pitch that concept to the Alpine partners.
Yeah.
At the time, having no idea what industry or types of companies we would buy, just that we
Yeah.
wanted to build this kind of home for businesses, and we didn't know what was going to go into it yet. And fortunately for us, they really liked the idea, and they committed a portion of their fund
Yeah.
to the concept of Evergreen, really, when it was just an idea.
But you went off the grid though. The best part, one of my funnest parts, you went off the grid to a little tree house and threw a plan together.
That is right. That is right. There wasn't, yeah, we had no cell service, no Wi-Fi. We had some, big Post-it sheets on the
Yeah.
wall, and we kind of dreamt up Evergreen and
Yeah.
what it would look like. And in a lot of ways, it has come true, which
Yeah.
is crazy. There are some differences, but surprisingly, it's kind of manifested largely
Yeah.
the way we thought it would in that treehouse.
Yeah, I think for some people tuned in listening, the idea of no cell service and Wi-Fi, they're probably thinking, I wish I had that right now. Um, so,
Your
you know,
customers wouldn't wish you had that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Um, so, okay, you got this plan, you got this idea. What made you pick IT service providers like MSPs? Like, where did that come from?
Yeah. So looked at um, we looked at IT services companies of all different types, from small business to enterprise IT services over the years. And we came across two companies in 2017 that really opened our eyes to the SMB managed services
Yeah.
space, and that was Executech in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Wolf Consulting in
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And what it really opened up our eyes to was the idea of recurring revenue in these businesses. Most of the IT businesses we had looked at the time, and this was 6 years ago now. Most of the businesses had been more project-based consulting businesses, more
Right.
reactive, lumpy revenue streams. And what we
Yeah.
realized was that in SMB managed services, or in the SMB space, managed services had become kind of the predominant business model. So you had companies with high degrees of recurring revenue, and that was a fundamental
Yeah.
kind of part of our investment thesis. So we noticed that we really liked Executech and Wolf Consulting, and
Yeah.
then we started to recognize that there was a whole community of MSPs out there, thousands of businesses out there, that we could go be a home for. So that was kind of it was
Yeah.
kind of an introduction to a couple companies that really opened our eyes to some of the exciting trends happening in the
Yeah.
MSP space.
And I know I remember seeing you walking around the IT Nation conference, asking questions, doing things. So that's great. So I know who the first acquisition was. So let's talk about that because I think it's a testament to what you're doing and proves that, you deliver on what you say. Who
Yeah.
was the first one?
Yeah, Wolf Consulting was the first acquisition. I mentioned Executech and Wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf ended up closing first and being our first acquisition.
Yeah.
And the business was founded by Lloyd Wolf. He had
Yeah.
run the business for, I believe, about 30 years. And he was looking to sell the business and transition into retirement.
Yeah.
He wanted to sell the business to somebody that was going to take care of his people and somebody that was going to operate the business independently. He had seen some of his competitors get acquired and get integrated into larger
Yeah.
businesses and lose employees, lose customers, and kind of lose their secret sauce. So he was very focused on
Yeah.
finding a home for his business that would preserve his
Yeah.
legacy and what he'd built at Wolf Consulting. And so he talked to three people. I believe he had three offers on the table that were all somewhat comparable, from a valuation standpoint. He ended up choosing to partner with
Yeah.
Evergreen, largely because of the opportunity to operate the business independently and maintain its
Yeah.
brand and its way of doing business. So that was the
Yeah.
first acquisition. We still own the business today. It's been one of our most successful acquisitions. I think the business has almost tripled in size
Yeah.
since we acquired it, and couldn't have asked for a better first
Yeah.
partner than Lloyd Wolf.
And they still have their name. They still have the leadership team. They're still using the same tools, still have the same customers. That's what I love about, the model that you've built here because it fits so well with the culture and the essence of small business and
Yeah,
working with people. Um, and you have a people first culture inside the company that I think is important. Like, what made you gravitate towards, hey, we want to make sure we're taking care of the people. One of the things I heard Jeff say when I first met you all was it'd be great if people just had their whole careers inside of our companies.
yeah, absolutely. MSPs are a people business, so we are always measuring, employee NPS, tracking employee satisfaction. That's just proven time and again to be the leading
Yeah.
indicator of success. You start losing employees, that's the leading indicator for losing customers in the
Okay.
MSP business. So
Okay.
it's critical. And I think our ethos has always been, and this goes back to our days at Alpine, um, people are what drive outcomes, and we want to win by growing businesses. There are
Yeah.
a lot of other ways that private equity firms make money by cutting costs and not really growing the business much, but increasing the
Right.
margins, usually through headcount reductions. And that's
Yeah.
never been how we've wanted to generate returns and how we wanted to grow. We wanted to grow by adding new customers, offering more services to existing customers, and growing our teams over time. So if you look at the headcount of the businesses that we acquired, it almost always goes up
They grow.
post our ownership.
Yeah. I love that you've cleared the air here because a lot of people think, oh, private equity, we know what you do. You buy the business, you set some goals, you find operational efficiencies, synergies. You're going to get rid of it in 3 to 5 years. People get frustrated and go. And so, yeah, and you've proven it. We fast forward to today, over 65 MSPs now, um, but more than MSPs, right? Evergreen owns different types of companies. Tell me about that.
That's right. That's right. So, um, building off, we spent about the first 3 years of Evergreen entirely focused on the MSP industry, and we had a lot of success doing that. And kind of building off that, we said, hey, maybe there are other industries out there that would benefit from this type of model where you buy and hold
Yeah.
businesses, and definitely you operate them autonomously. So we've expanded into three other industries. We're
Okay.
involved in ERP consulting firms. We're involved in financial services software, and we do some government contracting work as well.
Okay.
So we've got, in addition to the MSP industry, four other industries where we're pursuing, or three other industries where we're pursuing um, similar strategies. But the MSP
Yeah.
industry really blazed the trail for that,
Yeah.
and is still the biggest part of our business today by quite a wide margin.
Yeah. So something I think is real important to understand about that, right? I've been in the MSP industry a long time and I've seen a lot of different things happen. Hey, private equity come in, buy them up, buy up a bunch, mash them together, do this out the door. Platform companies, one MSP starts acquiring and bring them in. Um, you know, this and during those transactions, you hear people say things, right? Oh, this deal is tough. This deal process is tough. Going through the due diligence, things change during that, and this wasn't what I expected. The fact that you and this amazing team have done 70 plus acquisitions means you've done hundreds of offers and due diligence, right? Because you don't land every one of them.
That's right.
Um, I think there's value in that as someone looking to sell their business, right? Because we know, like once we put that offer together, we're pretty confident it's going to be close to there. Um, in the due diligence process, I covered this in a separate video with Sydney. It's like, we can do it in about 60 days, right? It's like
Yeah.
I say all the time, think about buying a house. We know how hard that is. Like, oh no, now this inspector uncovered this, and now this is going to change, and this and this and this.
Right.
We already know what to look for because we've done it so many times. So I think there's a tremendous amount of value in that. And hats off to you and the team for just how incredible that's been. So, um, look, the future is looking great. What's the next big thing that you're thinking is out there for Evergreen?
Yeah, I think we are continuing to double down on MSPs. It's just been such a successful investment for us. As far as we've just loved our experience working with MSP business owners. We've had really good success growing the companies post acquisition, which is critical. Anyone can go out and buy a bunch of businesses. Can you buy businesses and then grow them and actually
Yeah,
have them thrive under your ownership? That's a whole other question, and we've had really good success with that in the MSP space. So
yeah,
international expansion is
nice.
on the roadmap. We've got a deal under LOI in the UK right now. We're going to be expanding into Australia and New Zealand. So international expansion is a big component. We've already expanded into Canada and done 5 acquisitions there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of thing one is just doubling down on what we've already built in the MSP space. We are looking at opening up other industry groups, so we'll probably open up another industry
Okay.
here in the near future to go with the 4 that we already have. So
All right.
those are kind of the 2 themes.
That's exciting. So, final words here. If someone owns a business and comes to you, what's the advice you have for them?
Yeah, let's see. I try to, a lot of the companies that we've acquired have been people that I first talked to 3, 4, 5 years
Yeah.
before we acquired them. So
Yeah.
I think my advice is just have those conversations and be willing to share information and share what your goals are, whether it's a personal wealth target or a milestone in the business that you want to hit before
Yeah.
considering an exit. I've developed great long-term relationships with some people well in advance of them doing a transaction. I think I've been able to articulate to them,
Yeah.
hey, here are a few things that you need to do in order to get to that valuation, or here's what we've seen in other businesses that
Okay.
have achieved the milestone that you're looking to hit. So I think having those initial conversations and being curious about what buyers are looking for and how you can build your business to be something attractive to a
Yeah.
buyer, I guess that would be
Okay.
one piece of advice.
Nice. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for clearing the air on who Evergreen is and where you came from, what you're doing, where you're going. Those of you that tuned in, you heard it here. Thanks, Ramsey. Thank you for those tuned in, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Craig. Enjoyed it.